Good day and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Mike Egobadia. Here are our top stories. Presidency fought Makinde call for United Nations probe into Oyo abduction. APIC called bars INEC from recognizing Mark-led ADC Congress. And federal government grants 6 billion naira tax waivers to boost local drug production. And on the foreign scene, airstrike hits Yemen airport as Houthis accuse Saudi Arabia. And on sports, NSC commends Junior Tigers for Afro basketball qualification. Now to the news in full. The presidency has criticized Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde's call for a United Nations investigation into the abduction of pupils and teachers in Orire local government area, describing the request as unnecessary and politically motivated. President spokesperson Bayo Anonuga said Nigerian security agents had already explained the rescue operation and insisted there was no reason to doubt their effort. He accused the governor of politicizing the incident while maintaining that the government had nothing to hide if an international body chose to investigate. Governor Makinde, however, defended his position, saying an independent probe will promote transparency, accountability, and public confidence. He also announced that Oyo State government is taking responsibility for the medical care, rehabilitation, and education of the rescued pupils and teachers.
Our domestic institutions. I therefore, with a full sense of responsibility as the Executive Governor of Oyo State, call on the appropriate international human rights and accountability mechanisms, including those within the United Nations system, to closely examine the facts surrounding this abduction and the circumstances of its resolution.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian army said the victims were rescued after 56 days in captivity following a giant security operation that claimed the lives of 2 soldiers. Opposition parties backed Makinde call for an independent investigation, while the Labour Party insisted the matter should be handled by the Nigerian security agencies. In a related development, military veterans has called on the federal government to immediately implement the approved 250,000 naira minimum wage for 7 personnel, saying the salary review was passed by the National Assembly and signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the demand was made during a retreat in Abuja, where representative of the Chief of Defense Staff received documents from the veterans and promised to brief the CDS on their concerns. Now, the retired officers expressed disappointment over the delay, alleging that authorities had backtracked on the approved salary increase despite earlier assurances that payment would begin. Now, the veterans warned that they would proceed with a peaceful protest if the new salary structure is not implemented, urging the government to honor its commitment to members of the armed forces. While talking politics, the Court of Appeal in Abuja have upheld a federal high court ruling restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission from recognizing state congresses conducted by a committee appointed by the Senator David Mark-led caretaker leadership of the African Democratic Congress. Now, in majority judgment, the appellate court ruled that only the party's elected state executive committees have the authority to conduct state congresses. It also declared the congresses and national convention organized by the caretaker committee invalid and awarded 10 million naira in cost against the ADC. The court held that the case involved constitutional issues and was not merely an internal party dispute, making judicial intervention necessary. However, the presiding judge dissented, arguing that the matter was beyond the court's jurisdiction. Now, the ruling is expected to have a major implication for the ADC ahead of the 2027 general election, as it raises questions over the validity of the party's congresses, convention, and candidates produced under the David Mark-led caretaker committee. Still talking politics, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has called for visa bans and economic sanctions against politicians and security officials accused of sponsoring political violence ahead of the August 15 governorship election. Now, speaking during a meeting with a British government delegation on pre-election peace mission, Adeleke alleged that opposition leaders were engaging attacks, or rather encouraging attacks that have resulted in killings and violence across the state. Now, the governor urged security agencies to arrest and prosecute anyone linked to the unrest, insisting that no one should be above the law. He also called on the international community to impose sanctions on those found to be promoting electoral violence. The British delegation said it will continue engaging political stakeholders to support peaceful, credible, and transparent elections in Osun before, during, and after the governorship polls. Away from that and talking business, the federal government has granted over 6 billion naira in tax waivers to 47 pharmaceutical manufacturers to boost local drug production and reduce reliance on imported medicines. According to the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, 115 pharmaceutical manufacturers have now been enrolled in the incentive program, with more companies being ordered. The tax waivers were implemented between March and August of 2025 as part of efforts to strengthen Nigeria's healthcare manufacturing sector. The government odds that the initiative had attracted $75 million in investment, supported local manufacturers, and strengthened Nigerians' healthcare value chain. Now, officials said the program will increase local medicine production, create jobs, and improve access to affordable healthcare produce across the country. Still talking business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has begun selling petrol in United States dollars, fixing the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit at 47 cents per liter. Now, the new pricing structure also set diesel at $1.09 per liter and aviation fuel at 94 cents per liter, and then the refinery's Naira-denominated sales. Now, the refinery says all previously issued Naira invoices are now invalid, with the new dollar-based prices taking effect immediately. However, it clarified that liquefied petroleum gas transactions will continue in Naira. Now, industry sources said the shift was driven by the refinery's increasing purchase of crude oil in dollars, creating a mismatch with domestic fuel sales in Naira and exposing the country to foreign exchange risks. The development is expected to affect petroleum marketers and could influence pump price nationwide, as fuel stations' costs will now depend largely on exchange rates, crude oil prices, and other distribution costs. With our business news, we'll go on a break now, but do remember when we come back, more news as it concerns the foreign scene and the ever-exciting world of sport. Join us again.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
And on the foreign scene, airstrikes have struck the runway at the Sana'a International Airport in Yemen, with the Houthis movement accusing Saudi Arabia of carrying out the attacks. The Houthis described the strike as a violation of the 4-year truce between the Iranian allied group and the Saudi-led coalition and vowed to retaliate. The attack marks a significant escalation in tension, raising fears of renewed fighting after years of relative calm. There have been no immediate response from Saudi Arabia as concerns grew over the impact of the latest development on regional stability. France has celebrated its annual Bastille Day with a grand military parade in Paris, showcasing France's armed forces alongside foreign military contingents. French President Emmanuel Macron, hosted leaders of the Coalition of the Willing at the event, highlighting international cooperation and support for shared security objectives. The parade featured troops, military vehicles, aircraft fly past, and ceremonial display commemorating France's National Day and the storming of the Bastille in 1789. Ukrainian troops also joined in the parade. Bastille Day remains one of France's most significant national celebrations, symbolizing unity, freedom, and the country's military heritage. The National Sports Commission has congratulated Nigerians Junior D Tigers after the team secured qualification for the 2026 FIBA Under-18 Afro-Basket competition with an unbeaten run at the Zone 3 qualifiers in Burkina Faso. The Nigerian side won all 4 matches, including a commanding 100-54 victory over host Burkina Faso to book an automatic place at the continental tournament schedule to hold in Ivory Coast from August 3rd to 16th. Director General of the NSC, Bukola Olopade, praised the players for their impressive performance and urged them to continue developing their talent, while Nigerian Basketball Federation President Musa Kida credited the sources to the Federation focus on grassroots development. With both the men's and women under-18 team now qualified, Nigeria will head to Ivory Coast aiming to challenge for the continental honors at the 2026 FIBA Under-18 Afrobasket competition. And France and Spain will battle around 8 p.m. Nigerian time later today for a place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup final, with France chasing a third title and Spain aiming for their second. France will rely on Kylian Mbappe, who has scored 8 goals at the tournament alongside Ousmane Dembele and Michael Olise. Coach Deschamps is hoping to end his reign by leading the La Blues back to the World Cup final. However, head in the contest in the fine form inspired by teenage star Lamine Yamal and a defense that had conceded just 1 goal throughout the tournament. The winner will advance to Sunday's World Cup final, where either defending champions Argentina or England await in the tournament's showpiece match. Well, anyway, let's go check what the weather will be for cities across Nigeria today.